Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is November 20th, and we're going to talk about some current events that are going on that I found interesting. We're going to start off with the election and then kind of go into a possible presidency and move into DoD and the troop drawdown in Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, if you like what I had to say, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. The channel's growing, but the biggest help you can be is by sharing this with your friends. Like, let me know what you think in the comments. If you don't like it, then hit dislike and tell me what you don't like about it. The election. The election night that became the election month. Because that's what we're moving into. As of today, Georgia has certified their vote. There's still lawsuits pending in Pennsylvania. There's recounts. But unless something major happens, it looks like Joe Biden will be the president-elect. Now, things can still happen. There's rumors that Republican legislatures are going to refuse to certify the vote and block it. So come December 14th, neither candidate will have 270 electoral college votes. So then it will go to the Supreme Court, which will probably bounce to the House in what's called a contingent election. If that happens, one delegate from each state delegation will vote. As of right now, the Republicans have a majority when we go about it that way. But nobody knows what the outcome is going to be. Right now, if we just go with the information we have, it looks like Joe Biden will be the president-elect. But there are a lot of allegations. There are things that do need to be investigated. You have sworn affidavits, and people are saying it's only circumstantial evidence. Well, people have been convicted on circumstantial evidence in criminal court. In a civil case, the bar for evidence is much lower. Now, with that being said, you also have the Dominion software question. Because they're saying there's nothing wrong, and they had agreed to sit down with a committee from the Pennsylvania legislature, and then came back and lawyered up and said, no, we're not going to do it. Now, they're saying there's nothing wrong with their software. This could be their chance to prove it and show evidence that, hey, our software's been this effective in 28 states. Well, we know for a fact that in one county alone, it switched 6,000 votes from President Trump to Vice President Joe Biden. Now, I'm not one for conspiracy theories because personally, I don't think that many people can keep a secret. But a software error could cause that. A coder or a couple of coders that wrote the code could have caused that. But it's also being called human error. Now, if you notice, every state they've done a recount or any surface level investigation, any problems are being chalked up as human error. So my question that I pose to you is there this much human error in every election or just this one? Because if this is every election, then our system is really broken beyond the point of what anybody ever questioned it. We really need to look into this. And you know what? It's not even about who becomes president. It's about identifying these issues so that come January 20th, the right person swears the oath as the President of the United States. And two, we can get these issues corrected before we vote again in 2022. I don't think that's too much to ask for. I think it could be expensive when it comes to these recounts that need to happen based on possible glitches in the software. And if that's the case, it shouldn't be on the candidates and it shouldn't be on the states to fund this. This should be federal funds that pay for this so we can identify an issue, correct an issue, and from this point moving forward, have a fair and honest election. Now, there's a gentleman, Matt Brainerd, who did a bunch of research going through using call centers, talking to GOP voter or people who were registered Republicans who requested absentee ballots who over half stated they filled their ballot out, sent it back in, and it doesn't show they voted. Now, this goes back to the allegations, and I'll call them allegations because none of them have been proven true or false yet. If you go to his Twitter feed, he actually lays out a bunch of the information, and as somebody who has a degree in economics, statistics mean a lot. And I also believe in Occam's razor, which is the simplest answer is usually the right one. So we need to investigate these things and come to an answer to figure out who's going to be the president come January 20th. I think it is our right as Americans, as citizens, to know that the right person is swearing that oath. And if that person is Vice President Joe Biden, then congratulations. I did another video with my expectations of a Biden presidency. Here is my fear as we move into the next segment. President Trump in 4 years has done more to attempt to withdraw combat forces from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan than the Obama-Biden administration did in 8 years. In fact, that administration got us involved in 2 additional conflicts, and their faulty withdrawal method led to the rise of ISIS. So moving forward, if there is a Biden presidency, I fear that the withdrawal will not happen, but we will add troops, or we'll involve ourselves in more places where maybe we're not doing the good that we thought we were. I'm not saying they did it with negative intentions. I think they had the best intentions in the world, but that's not how it turned out. Moving to the Department of Defense, yes, the Secretary of Defense has been fired. The undersecretaries of Policy and Intelligence, one was fired, one resigned. There's also a whole bunch of leadership that either resigned or were fired. Now, if you read certain articles, they'll tell you that Trump did this to replace them with loyalists. But then if you read about Jim Jeffrey, who was the envoy to Syria, who freely admits they played a shell game with numbers. They lied to the president about how many troops were there and what was going on. So yes, the people he appointed may be loyalists, but maybe the loyalists will tell him the honest truth about what's going on so he can fulfill his campaign promise of pulling our troops out. The troop reductions that have been announced, I have no issue with, because honestly, in 2006, yes, 2006, so 14 years ago, there was a plan while we were deployed to Iraq that at some point in the near future, the forces would be drawn down to U.S. combat forces stationed at 2 major air bases to serve as a tripwire or a fire brigade if something came up that the internal defense forces couldn't handle in Iraq. Given the numbers that they've stated, with 2,500 in Afghanistan and 2,500 in Iraq after this drawdown happens, that would be about that same level. You also have now, Special Operations Command has been given a new reporting chain to go directly to the Secretary of Defense. Well, I'm willing to bet that there were members of the bureaucracy in between Special Operations Command and the Secretary of Defense that added to that shell game. Because as we reduce conventional forces, there may be a larger role at times for Special Operations Forces. But that has to be based on the situation. And the fact that we had a Secretary of Defense and undersecretaries that lied to the president. The envoy to Syria admits to lying to the president, which means they lied to Congress, which means they lied to the American people. Why would they not be fired? Why would they not be replaced? As an individual veteran who has served repeatedly in both areas, I've lost friends there. I, like many of my friends, am not completely the same person I was before those experiences. I don't hold that against anybody. I don't blame that for anybody. I volunteered. The Army gave me everything it swore it would give me when I joined. But I went into it with the knowledge that the civilian leaders appointed over me, appointed, not elected, would tell the truth about what was going on. And maybe that was a false notion, but it shouldn't be. And the fact that the president has called them on that and replaced them, I think is a good thing. The fact that we are finally drawing down troops on a war that's lasted for 19 years and another for 17 years, we've given them all the tools they need to succeed. So whether this will go good and bad, I don't know. You don't know. The president doesn't even know. Time will tell. But at some point, we back out. We allow them to decide their own fate. That is what an actual democracy is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what I have to say, like, subscribe. Give me a comment about what you think. You can comment about what else you want me to talk about. If you disagree with what I'm saying, go ahead and hit dislike and tell me what you disagree with. If you want to send me a message, the easiest way to do it is on my Instagram or my Twitter, which are in the About on the channel. But like, subscribe, share with your friends. That would be the most help. We're growing. And remember, the whole idea is to question stuff. Rely on your critical thinking. Start questioning the stuff you're being told and research yourself. The stuff I say, please research yourself. And if I'm wrong in something, if you can show me where I'm wrong, then I'll actually bring that up in a video because I'm not that closed-minded. I know I can make mistakes. But like, share, subscribe, give me a comment about what you think or what you want to see. I'm working on my Patreon right now because there's going to be some additional stuff on there to include just I'm going to start doing a short video every day of just what I'm thinking, whether I do a main video or not. I'm currently going through the Antifa handbook because I want to do a longer video on Antifa and my conclusions and opinions based on the research I've done. The human trafficking video is coming along. And I'm also researching a video on Emma Goldman, who I think is a very interesting person who learned that socialism wasn't exactly what she thought it was going to be and was condemned for it. But like, subscribe, share, give me a comment. Let your friends know what's going on. Question everything. And if you disagree with me, then tell me what you disagree with. And we'll have a civil discussion because you may change my mind. But remember, I may change yours. With that, everybody have a good evening.